Cost of living crisis in the UK is expected to get worse, and this is over the next coming months. An economist at the US-based Citibank predicts that the UK's consumer price inflation would surpass 18% in January 2023. The last time the UK had around 18% inflation was 1976. The UK Office of National Statistics has also come out with a report that says its economy shrank by 11% in 2020, the sharpest contraction in more than 300 years. Let's now take a look at how this perfect storm is set to affect the United Kingdom. Citibank's prediction of 18.6% inflation in the UK is the most pessimistic. The Bank of England had earlier predicted inflation would peak at around 13% in October. However, others such as EY and Goldman Sachs are also estimating at least 15% inflation. These levels are expected once the UK revises its energy price cap in October. The cost of energy is rising because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Europe is weaning itself away from cheap Russian gas, so wholesale energy prices are rising. The UK's Office of Gas and Electricity Markets is expected to announce the October price cap on Friday. Citibank's chief UK economist said that the Bank of England may need to increase interest rates to as high as 7% to deal with inflation. The BOE already made its sharpest hike in 27 years in early August when it raised the cost of borrowing by 50 basis points to 1.75%. A 7% interest rate may not be required, though, because rising unemployment could put the brakes on inflation. The Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee is expected to make its next rate announcement on September 15th. As prices soared, the UK reveals that COVID hit its economy harder than previously thought. The UK House of National Statistics revised its 2020 contraction numbers from around 9% to 11%. This surpasses the contractions caused by the World Wars and is the worst since the year 1709. While the UK economy bounced back in 2021, it is expecting to see recession again this year because of high inflation. The ONS will publish growth figures for 2021 and the first half of this year on September 30th. It's important to note that the last time the UK saw similar inflation numbers and a shrinking economy was in 1976. It was forced to borrow money from the IMF to stay afloat. The terms of the IMF deal forced the UK to raise taxes and cut government spending. A similar situation today would exacerbate the cost of living crisis and bring more misery to the UK's poorest. Whoever becomes the next UK Prime Minister will inherit a crippling economic crisis with their new post.
Karam said.
Let's now go over to our business editor, Sumit Chaturvedi, who will explain to us the ramifications of rising UK inflation, especially for consumers.
Well, thank you, Priyanka. And let's begin with the overall reason for this inflation. Clearly, COVID-19 was the time. Lockdowns were there. The money was pumped into the economy, but the goods were really not there. So too few goods and too much money. It led to inflation, and clearly now the inflation is peaking, as now being reported that projections are there, it will go up further. So there is no respite, it looks like for Britishers from this high inflation, high cost of living, and all Britishers, they are going to suffer from this for many more months to come. But the question now is, what are the options before the government? Well, clearly there are limited options. Right now, the government is kind of in headless mode. Prime Minister is not there. Rishi Sunak is in race, others are in race. So clearly it is a tough call which is to be taken by a new Prime Minister whosoever is appointed there. Second, what about the interest rate hikes? Well, Bank of England, BOE, went for 0.5% rate hike recently, and it doesn't have much headroom now to go for further rate hikes. Main important thing is winter is coming. Gas supply from Russia are not clearly can be taken into account. So in that scenario, in winters, gas supplies will have to be taken into account to calculate any inflation. That is one of the biggest factors that is going to play its part in the next 3 to 4 months in UK. So 18% inflation is clearly out of clearly any manager's capability to manage over the next 3 to 4 months. So Britishers are going to suffer for many more months for this. Adding to the woes of Britishers is the strikes, frequent strikes that are happening. We are hearing that one of the largest ports in UK is facing a strike for 8 days. That's going to increase the problems further. So clearly it doesn't look like anytime soon there is going to be respite for Britishers from high inflation. It's leading to really the economy going down. As we have seen the data, economy went down in 2020, the highest in 300 years for Britishers. So in the coming few months, it doesn't look like there's going to be big respite for Britishers from this high inflation. Back to you, Priyanka.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.